Hey there, so I've got this Klein Tools Digital Angle Finder in level. I'm excited to get this set up. I've got a project going on around me, and this is going to come in handy, so stick with me. I'm going to show you how it works. So here is everything that comes included. We've obviously got the main attraction, our angle finder in level, got a little carrying pouch, a couple AAA batteries in there, and then we've got our instructions. We're going to go ahead and get these batteries installed and get this thing going. The battery cover is held by just a small Phillips screw. We can see the magnetic attraction here holds the screw nicely in place. That'll be handy if we're using this to hold on to maybe a saw blade, find an angle, pipe, conduit. Again, 2 AAA batteries required, and they are included. Looking on the back here, we've got this IP42 rating for dust and water resistance. As far as size of this, you can see very small, compact, easy to carry. It can fit in maybe some tight spaces that you're looking to measure. And this measures 2 1/4 by 2 1/8 by 1 1/8. So again, very small, fits in the palm of my hand nicely. We can see just looking at the profile here, we've got these grooves. That makes it really handy if you're going to be using this on any sort of rounded edge, maybe a piece of conduit to measure the slope or the angle. The bottom side is what has the magnet. If I just take a pair of scissors, you can see it's held. The top and the sides do not have the magnet, so just one thing to note there. But this magnet, very strong. I'm swinging this scissors around and this thing is held in place tight. So the first thing we're going to do is power this on. If you have it tilted backwards or forwards by more than 30 degrees, you're going to get this error message. It's not going to be able to give you an accurate reading. So you do have to hold it somewhat plumb, but it does have quite a bit of leeway. You don't have to be perfect with it. See, as I tilt, I'm getting different values. One handy feature with this is it doesn't matter if you're holding it upright or upside down. The display is automatically going to change to make it more readable. And then as far as the display goes, there's a few different options here. So right now we've got this 90-degree symbol here. So this means if we tilt it, get all the way up to 90 degrees, and then go past it, it's going to start going in the opposite direction, down from 90 degrees as we return back to 0, or actually 180 degrees. Otherwise, if we do want to measure the full 180 degree capability, we can press our hold button or the range button, and we can see down here we've got the symbol, the half circle, and that means as we go ahead and tilt this, we're going to start reading greater than 90 degrees all the way up to 180. The other indicator is the lines. You can see they alternate. And what that means is when we are essentially tilting it upright, the angled line is going to be on top of the flat line. If we angle it downwards, that angled line is now going below the flat line, indicating we're heading downwards below level. When it comes to using the digital angle finder, it's as simple as just placing it onto the object that you want to check the angle or level of. It can be useful for simple tasks such as hanging picture frames, or if you're trying to check the slope of a drain pipe. But my favorite way to use this angle finder is when I'm setting up my tools to make a mitered cut, whether it's on my chop saw, table saw. I can use this to make sure that I've got the correct angle. It's a little bit easier than trying to read the scale on the table saw or chop saw. Another feature that's very handy is you can set a reference point based on a surface that may not already be totally level, such as this piece of wood here. Right now we've got a slope of 3.6, so if I wanted to measure an angle relative to it, I'd have to do some math here. So this is 41.8, this is 3.6, and I could calculate the difference there. Otherwise, what I could do is allow this to calculate it for me. The power button serves as a 0 button as well. Just a single press, it's going to flash, go to 0. And then if I go back up here, we're now at 38.3. So it's measuring the angle of this surface relative to this initial surface here as our baseline. And then to release that reference point, you simply just press the power button again. Now we're back to normal. Okay, now let's do a quick accuracy check. I'm gonna zero this out. I've got a 45-degree square set up behind me. We're right at 44.9. So in most cases, that's gonna be perfectly acceptable. This isn't a calibrated square either, so this may be slightly out of spec. Prior to the angle finder, I used to rely very heavily on my bubble level, along with the miter gauge in order to figure out angles. But even this method relies heavily on placement of that bubble, which can be somewhat subjective. You're relying on a visual, and if you're looking at it off-center, you may be getting different placement of that bubble, which could lead you to a different angle. However, with the angle finder, you can simply just set it onto the surface and you get your reading. It's as simple as that. So another thing I like to do is just a quick repeatability check, just to see if we're gonna get consistent results over and over. So right now, the angle finder is not zeroed out. I'm getting a 0.1 degree reading right there. Pick it up, put it back down, and we get another 0.1 degree reading. And I can do this several times. And we get nice, steady results. That's important because then it's giving you values you know you can rely on. So really consistent, really repeatable, and that's important when it comes to these digital angle finders. And if at any point you suspect that you've lost some accuracy on this device, you can go ahead and enter a calibration mode very simply. With the power off on the unit, we're going to hold the hold button and then press the power button. We're now entering cal mode, and what we're going to see here is we can press the power button and we see cal 1 there. And so now that we've seen the cal 1, we're not going to pick this up, but we're going to rotate it 180 degrees towards the opposite direction. And then we're going to press the power button again, and we see cal 2. And that's the last step. Calibration is complete. And really the only negative thing that I can say with this angle finder is sometimes it can take a little bit of time to reach its final measurement. So once you place it on the surface, give it a little bit of time to stabilize. Not a big deal though. Then what's nice is when we are done, we can go ahead, put it into this little protective case, and away we go. All right, we have checked this out, and I am excited to continue working on my projects, being able to use this, no longer having to rely on a bubble level or just an analog gauge. This one is quick and easy to use, and it's giving me values that I know I can trust. Highly recommend this if you're looking for a convenient way to measure angles or slope. So I hope you enjoyed this demo, and if so, feel free to subscribe if you're interested in seeing demos and setup of other tools around the house.